They were forced to come here. But what do they think about it?
I certainly don't feel lonely in Japan. Um, when I first came, of course, I did. But once I realized that CA would be a great opportunity for me to start making friends, because if you can't make friends in a community where there are a lot of people like you, you're going to have trouble making friends in other communities, of course. So I decided to go ahead and branch out, and I found lots of friends that I had lots in common with, actually, really quick once I decided to start trying. As far as Japan being anything like my country, in Kentucky especially, not really. Although the community where I ended up on Roko Island does have a lot in common with places like that, and they really do a lot to help Westerners especially, and just all foreigners, I guess, to fit in a lot better into the Japanese culture. And then, there's language, which I don't speak a word of the language really. Occasionally I can get myself out of an awkward situation, but if the cashier tells me how much something costs and the price isn't showing, a lot of times I'll have to have her write it or type it out on a calculator.
When I first heard I'm gonna come to Japan, I thought I really don't think at all. I just say whatever to my mom. Well, it's sort of a dream to come to Japan when I was a kid. And well, when I come to Japan, I found that it's really different from Taiwan. The place is like so clean and people are pretty nice, although I don't actually talk to my neighbors. And well, since I'm Taiwanese and the language is Chinese, so there are a lot of kanjis, which is used most of them in Japanese language. So I don't actually have the language barrier.
I guess I kind of feel lonely in Japan, and it is a language barrier kind of thing, knowing that people can't understand me, but I feel like at the same time I'm learning to get through that, and that it's a great experience, and that compared to my own country, there's a lot of culture here, aside from the obvious that people don't understand, and being here I get to experience that and understand myself better in the culture.
Yeah, get him! When I first came, I guess I think I experienced a little bit of bullying, which I feel like was more than just there's a new guy here, let's mess with him. But more like because I was so antisocial, they kind of targeted me. And now it's not really like that anymore. I've completely fit in. But when you think about, compared to back home especially, I guess there wasn't the opportunity to have all that bullying. Because back home a lot of new kids didn't come very often. So when they did, we were all really excited. But here I definitely think there's a lot more opportunity for kids to be left out and to be bullied and picked on.
I don't think I've ever been bullied before as a third culture kid growing up in a foreign country, but there are times where I feel like while the bullying may not be direct, there are separations between me and some of my friends that I can't really understand.
Well, no, obviously I've not been bullied before as third culture kids. Well, since maybe it's because that CA is a community that has a lot of foreigners, which people usually don't pick on the new people. Well, not as in Taiwan. Bullying is pretty common.
What do they get from being a third culture kid?
I guess the benefits of coming to Japan as a third culture kid, especially, is getting to immerse myself in this new culture and all these new experiences that I've never been able to understand before. Growing up in the United States, there are a lot of things we didn't quite understand about Japan. It was all stereotypes and whatever you saw on TV or heard from someone that had been to Japan, which was very uncommon. As part with my education, knowing that as a high schooler I'm growing a lot and I'm getting to understand not only the culture I'm immersed in now, but my own culture and a worldly view of the culture, knowing that all these differences get to come together for once.
The benefits of coming here in Japan is I can experience new cultures, learn new languages, be open-minded to this world, which might help me in the future.
So, there are lots of benefits of being in Japan, I think. There's definitely the fact that I'm getting a much better education than I would have if I'd stayed at home. Kentucky isn't necessarily the educational center of the world, and especially not of the United States. So, I don't know. That's one thing. Another thing is I can really have conversations with people here that mean something. Back home, it seems like if you didn't want to talk about sports or what was playing on the radio, you couldn't really talk about a whole lot, you know? And probably one of the biggest things is just the opportunities I get outside of school, and people do things for you here. People help you out. And a lot of people share your interests, so you can help them out while they're helping you out, which is a big thing for me, especially since I'm really into music. And I have teachers who support me, like Mr. Masa. And so, there are a lot of benefits of being in Japan that I wouldn't get if I were still in Kentucky. So I'm glad I came.